Hello there, Memories That Last, Contemplating the Impact of Ecotourism on Children's Future Behaviour, which is a working paper as well as a presentation prepared for the Food Studies Conference in Denmark, October 2021, Making Sense from Taste. And indeed, this is what I am attempting to do. My name is Thomas Lester. I hold a PhD in Management and Sustainability from the University of Essex, but currently I work for the University of Winchester. Just to draw your attention, childhood memories. Have you got any childhood memories you would be aware of related to food? You may not be aware of them, but they may be there. I have only recently recalled one of mine, blue blackberries. I don't know the official name, but they should look black. Blackberries are black, but there are some pale ones, blue, light-colored ones, and they are just different. On my weekly cross-country run, or one of them, I just rediscovered some of these. Strangely enough, they are very unique. So why do I think that they taste? Because I think they taste better, but why? Is it because they are rare and different? Only a handful of berries all over the hills where I run, and even from memory I know that they are rare. Or do they bring about pleasant memories of my childhood? I guess so. I am yet to find out. So what is my research question here, and how did it come about? Well, it emerged from my previous research within the Hare Krishna community, where I researched food in terms or in the context of climate change and sustainability transitions. Also, my colleague drew my attention lately to childhood ecotourism, as well as some types of childhood memories. And my data set was at hand. So my broad interest lately was linking childhood experience in ecotourism to more sustainable behavior in adulthood. More specifically, the question if memory impacts behavior, which is commonsensical, but I will just list some of the references later which backs this up. So if memory impacts behavior, what types of memories do we provide for children and youths to enable pro-environmental behavior? Background in a nutshell. So Hare Krishna farm communities, that's what I researched as an ethnographer. At least as a method or methodology, I used ethnography. Only two of these communities, they have 300,000 visits or visitors a year, out of whom in 2019 there were just about 10,000 children. The Hare Krishna community, they have altogether worldwide 65 eco-farms, and just as a disclosure, I need to say that I never had involvement with the community, which is called ISKCON, International Society of Krishna Consciousness. But I went there, I joined the community, joined for a while, I cooked together with them, I experimented with their food schemes, planting, food growing, preparation, feeding. This is called Feeding 1000 in London, and that's where I am eating together with them. This is their van they use. They have a charity in London. This is a community in Watford near London. I also visited a community in Scotland and in continental Europe. They have a contemplative garden here to teach about vegetarianism. Just a few pictures for you to get a foretaste of what is to come. So now let's plunge ourselves into this paper, Memories That Last, contemplating the impact of ecotourism on children's future behavior. Point number 1, links between, so I'm going to have 3 major points, and within one of them a list of findings and then conclusions, and we are ready to wrap up. Links between memory and behavior already established. I mentioned it to you a minute ago. Psychology research, for example, established a close correlation between childhood memories and pro-social moral behavior. The reference list will be found on the last slide. Recent advances in neuroscience promote the effectiveness of retrieval-mediated learning and demonstrate the significance of memory to negotiate future judgments and actions. Point number 2. After reviewing the literature, I integrated 3 types of memory process into an analytical framework to evaluate their effectiveness, the effectiveness of these memories for behavior. Of course, more sustainable behavior was the one I was bearing in mind throughout. But my suggestion is that this framework can be used in any settings, looking into children's future behavior in the context or from the aspect of their present childhood memories. So these 3 memories: educational experiences, which is cognitive mostly, to do with the brain, to do with the mind, then sensory experiences, to do with the senses, and collective memory. This is very interesting because literature points out that memory, the memory formation, the process of memory development and retrieval is under change in the 21st century. The way we are developing our own memories, or the brain does it for us, is just not the same as it used to be before. Due to, for example, social media, there is something called collective memory, which I am not going to talk about in more depth at this time, but these 3 are the ones which, to my mind, in my proposition, form a framework, a lens, as it were, to examine childhood memories and later behavior. Out of these 3 types, I'm going to focus on the sensory experiences. It may have, of course, several types: school trip, sports activities, community gardening. Through all these we can gain sensory experiences, but linked more directly to food, again, it can have several types, but one is, which is the focus of this presentation, called Madeleine de Proust experience. The significance of all these sensory experiences is that they activate and are activated by the same cerebral area in the brain where memory processes function. Madeleine de Proust. So what is it? Why is it important for our research and present purposes? And what are the results? What are the findings in the Hare Krishna community? That's what I am going to present now. Madeleine de Proust. Proust was a French author who, in his autobiography, recalled an event when his mum offered him a cup of tea, herbal tea, and Madeleine biscuits, and all of a sudden he burst into an emotional spell, and he wouldn't know why. Only later on, when he calmed down, did he think and did he remember that the very same thing happened to him in his childhood when his auntie used to offer him Madeleine biscuits. Why is it important for us here? According to psychological research, testing this kind of experiences, the Madeleine de Proust experiences, odor, the smell, offers the most effective cue for this type of remembering. Odor elicits more detail of the memory and a greater degree of emotionality over against the other sensory modalities. We also, why is it? We could pose the question. We also learn that olfactory, which is to do with sniffing with the smell, or smelling rather, sensations only partially emanate from the conscious enactment of sniffing into something through the tip of our nose. Gibson, for example, explains that what comes into play when tasting food is a process which occurs in the back of the nasal activity from the inside of the mouth, as it literally, when food enters the mouth. So apart from odor, Gibson goes on to say other sense-related contributors tap into a multimodal experience, what we generally perceive of as flavor. Among such are the contrast, for example, texture and in contrast in texture or in temperature. For example, a nice warm apple pie with cold custard on top, or cold apple pie with hot heated custard on top, and the textural differences as well, and other stimuli as well. A mixture of these involuntary sensations and not just pure taste or odor is claimed to have triggered acute remembering in Proust's autobiographic novel. Again, point 5. Why is it important for us here? Chances for these recalls increase when stimulated by rare and unique events. So that's the research, that's the literature, that's what literature states. So what is happening there during the eco tours within the Hare Krishna communities? Indeed, I can testify to that. In my experience as an observer and researcher, indeed, Hare Krishna food and tasting of Hare Krishna food is a rare and unique experience, starting from the way it is prepared and offered and served to people and children and the needy, distributed through schemes like food sharing schemes, and also talked about and uplifted. And as you can see in the picture, they offer a variety of colors as well as dishes as well as sweets. So they provide stimuli through look and taste, of course, including odor. Let's just have a look at a few pictures of the dishes I took when I was among the believers. This is the one I just mentioned, the palm leaves. So this plate was prepared or made from palm leaves. So what are the conclusions? To conclude, together with other stimuli, cognitive, sensory, etc., tasting of Hare Krishna food may enhance children's memory formation, the whole process, and recall, and in turns pro-environmental behavior. I also list some recommendations in terms of the other types, mostly the other types of memories, namely the cognitive and then the collective memories in my paper. So what is the takeaway? What is the main message for today? Well, providing unique, should I say memorable, experiences to children in several areas, including tasting and eating together more sustainable food, may positively affect behavior. Just like a Madeleine and a cup of herbal tea, the experience may not seem unique at the time, but still may be stored in and by the brain as a unique and pleasant memory, not unlike my blue BlackBerry experience from my childhood. And what is novel in this research? Well, the novelty of this work lies in the methodology, partly. Children's agency in the ecotourism literature is often approached from financial perspectives. For example, survival of eco-farms, financial maintenance, financial feasibility of the farms themselves, etc. But focusing on memory is a novel approach in the field. That's how I conclude. So again, making sense from taste. This was a presentation for the Food Studies Conference in Denmark, October 2021, Memories That Last, Contemplating the Impact of Ecotourism on Children's Future Behavior. Thank you for watching, and all suggestions and comments are welcomed and appreciated. My email address can be seen below, and the reference is on the last slide. Thank you once again. Goodbye.